Hey guys, and welcome back to our channel. My name is Emma, and today I'm going to be taking you through a flow that is so good if you're someone who sits at your desk all day. I'm talking shoulder mobility, spine mobility, opening up those hips, as well as strengthening the posture from the core through the spine so that you can feel really strong as well as mobile after being sat at your desk all day. So let's get straight into it. Now, I want you to start in a seated position. You might want to grab a pillow to sit under that. Maybe you want to sit on your knees, but just find a nice comfortable position here. We're going to shut our eyes down, and I want you to place your hands onto either side of your ribs here. Now, really focus on lengthening the spine. I like to imagine that I've got a string through the crown of my head. That string is lengthened up towards the ceiling, allowing our spine to lengthen with us here. We're going to take a big inhale as we let our ribs expand to either side of the room. And as you exhale, I want you to just allow those ribs to soften. So we inhale to find that expansion grow taller and longer through the spine. And then exhale to sink and release any tension. Now your hands are on either side of the ribs. I want you to feel your fingertips spreading and expanding as you inhale, and then coming back together as you exhale here. You should really feel the ribs going to either side of the room as they grow bigger with that inhale. And soften with that exhale. We want to find our breath here. It's going to help us release tension as we move through some stretches, and allow us to activate the correct muscles as we find that strength work as well. Let's take 2 more rounds of breath. In through the nose and out through the mouth. 1 more here. Good. We're going to slowly open our eyes, release the arms. I want you to come over onto your hands and knees now. Now you want your hands today to be a little bit closer towards the knees. So they're not directly under the shoulders, they're slightly closer. We're going to find a neutral position through our spine. So untuck your toes, just allow your back to be nice and released here. Now I want you to take an inhale. You're going to drop those ribs towards your mat. We're going to arch our lower back, look up towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, you're going to curve your spine. Let's let the head drop and look in towards your body here. So we take our cat-cows. We're releasing the spine. I want you to really imagine that you're finding space between the vertebrae. Allowing everything to stretch, to lengthen. Really important to find this mobility through the spine before we begin to find that strengthening. We want space to move through with power. That breath should help you. So inhale up and exhale down. Let's take 1 more round here. Allow the head to move with the spine. Then we're going to find that point in the middle here. Now let's just walk our hands forward a little bit. So now they're underneath the shoulders. Now let's imagine that string back through the crown of our head. Someone is pulling it, lengthening our spine. We look down towards our mat. From here, I want you to shift your weight onto your right knee and left hand. The other arm and leg are going to extend out long. We're going to float them up so they come in line with our body, and then gently release all the way back down to the mat. Alternating sides, extend out, float up, release down. Now I want you to focus on your breath here. So we use that exhale as we extend out and float up. We use the inhale to lower. Now as you alternate sides, I want you to focus on those deep core muscles. These deep core muscles through our pelvic floor, our transverse abdominals, even the muscles that run down either side of your spine. They are the ones that support our back, that need to be strengthened. So when you are sitting all day, you're sitting with better posture, allowing that strength to support the spine so that we can begin to move a little bit easier, sit a little bit more comfortably. Let's just take one more here. Try to keep those hips really still. We're going to pause in all fours on that next one. Now I want you to send your left arm now underneath your body. You might want to place a pillow under that left shoulder, but I want you to fully find a release into the mat here. And then you're going to lift your right arm up to the ceiling and we take a nice big opening through our chest. So you should feel a little bit of a stretch through your upper back and then an opening through the chest here. Holding this, allowing the spine to release and stretch a little bit. Make sure that breath is working to deepen the stretch. And let's release. There, we move on to the other side. Place your right arm under. If you're using that pillow, bring it underneath that right shoulder. Drop your head, look up to the ceiling and extend your left arm. So we want to find that full rotation through our upper back. Pressing that right arm into the mat to create that stretch, to create that twist. Breathe deeply into the movement. And release. There. From here, I want you to just simply switch over onto your glutes. And we're going to come down onto our backs here. I want you to keep your feet planted into the mat. I want you to allow your head to release into the mat. Again, you might want to imagine that string on the crown of your head. Continue to pull that string, lengthen your spine. Let's bring our arms up towards the ceiling here. Now from here, I want you to just tilt your pelvis away from you, creating an arch through your lower back. Then I want you to tilt the pelvis towards you as we flatten our lower back into the mat. So we tilt away, feel that arch. Tilt back in, feel that flattening of the back. We're just mobilizing that lower back, creating a little bit of movement here before we find some nice functional bridges. Let's take one more in either direction. Then I want you to find that point in the middle here, your hips are level. You're going to float your hips up into a bridge now. So I want you to lift them up nice and high. Now from here, I want your weight evenly pressing down through your heels. Squeeze your glutes at the top of your bridge. We're going to lower the hips straight back down to the mat. At the same time, I want you to reach your arms overhead and then send everything back up. Let's inhale to lower down. Exhale to float up. So we're bringing a little bit of work into those glutes. Again, really important to find some strength here to help you and support you as you sit. We're also finding an opening through the chest. So the arms reach over the head. I want you to feel that opening through the chest, through the shoulders. Again, we might be really tight here from being rounded over our laptop all day. So I want you to really enjoy that opening as the arms reach overhead. We inhale down, exhale up. Remember, the breath is almost the most important thing to focus on here. It's going to help us with the movement. It's going to allow you to find that mobility and that strength in the body all together. Let's take two more here. On that next one, I want you to keep your hips up. We're going to deepen the work in the glutes by taking some pulses here. Make sure your weight is pressing down through your heels. You're squeezing those glutes, floating up with each pulse for 4, 3, 2. On 1, you're going to lower your hips down, lower your hands back down by your side. Let's open our feet out wide and just let those knees drop side to side. So now we're opening through those hip flexors, releasing out that lower back, Remember, we're working mobility with strength today. Let's take one more of those hip twists in either direction. Then you're going to plant the feet back down into your mat. We're going to move through a little bit of work for our core. Really important to activate the core from the inside out to support your spine. So let's float the arms back up to the ceiling here. Make sure your head is nice and released. Now in our neutral position, so our hips are nice and level, we're going to gently activate through our pelvic floor. So pull up through the core, find that deep connection here in the abs, and then float your feet up off the mat. So we're in a tabletop position. Now from here, I want you to just keep the legs in tabletop. Don't let your hips rock around. You should keep a tiny gap between your lower back and the mat. You're just going to start by lengthening your left arm, reaching it overhead, and then feel that activation in the core as you float the arm back up. Other side, we lengthen away. Float up. Now let's use our exhale as we lengthen away and our inhale to reset. I want you to actively feel that deep squeeze in your core each time you reset that arm. Now this might be enough for you today. If you want the challenge, as your arm goes overhead, the opposite leg is going to tap down to the mat, keeping it in that 90-degree angle, bend and float back up. So we again alternate sides, tap down, lift up. Opposite arm and leg work. If that is too much, just stick to the arms. Now this flow is to help you find mobility and that light strength. So it shouldn't feel super hard. We want to find the ease within the movement. That's where the breath comes into play. That exhale should help you find that ease. That inhale should help you reset. Let's just take 3 more here. You shouldn't feel it in your lower back. If you are either arching the back too much, or let's just stick with the arms. Pause there. Now I want you to bring your feet back down onto the mat. Let's bring our hands behind our head. Allow your head to release into your hands. We're going to take 1 round of crunches. Now I want you to start from that lower belly. We're going to just begin to tighten that lower part of the belly, then come up into a crunch. Now you're only coming to, you can see your stomach, and then release back down. So it's just a crunch here. Lower belly activates to initiate. We curl up, pause, gently release down. Now I want you to have your head fully released into your hands, your elbows out to either side of the mat. We want to just about see them in our peripheral vision. Exhale up, inhale down. Again, we focus on the deep ab muscles. They are the ones that will continue to support our spine. Let's take 3 more here. Let's go for 2. Now on our next one, we're going to stay in our crunch. And I want you to just take small pulses. We deepen the strength in the stomach. Keep your head released. We go for 4, 3, 2, 1, and release down. Let's release the arms. I want you to come back up to sitting. Now I want you to lengthen your legs out long. Now if this position is a little bit uncomfortable for you, you might want to sit on a block or a pillow just to slightly raise yourself here. I want your feet on either sort of side of your mat. And I want you to just extend your arms over your legs. Now we're going to roll the shoulders up, back and down. Then we're going to lengthen through our neck, through that string. Make sure our posture is nice and long here. I want you to take a big inhale. As you exhale, we're going to hinge at the hips and take a fold over our legs. Now, if you need to take a slight bend in the knees, that is fine. I want you to try keep your spine lengthened and then fold. Settle into that stretch. We're lengthening all down the back of the legs. Once you have settled there, you might want to release your head and just take a slight curve through the spine as we sink into our stretch. Now we're trying to stretch down the back of the legs. Often neglected, often tightened as you sit at your desk all day. Really important to lengthen these muscles, your hamstrings, your calves, so that they don't tighten and seize up and become really weak from sitting all day. Just allow the head to release. Breathe into your stretch. We hold it here for 2 more deep breaths. Let's take 1 more. And release. Let's restack up. Before we move into one final stretch, I want to do a little bit of supine work through our spine. So we're going to come down onto our bellies here. Now I want you to have your feet in that position where they're out to either edge of the mat. So sort of an X shape with the feet. Now you can have your hands on either side of your mat. I want you to keep the forearms on the mat and then lower your head down to your mat. You're going to tuck your pelvis under and activate those glutes. So we're supporting that lower back. We're sending our pubic bone into the mat, really stable through that rear chain. Now from here, I want you to exhale as you just float the head up off the mat. So we come into a slight lift through our upper back and then release down as you inhale. Exhale up. Inhale down. Now as we work through this series, we are focusing on the upper back. That means if you start to feel it through your lower back, you're either moving up too high or you're unactivating those glutes. So you're disengaging. So I want you to keep hold of those glutes the whole time to really protect that lower back. Important here that we work through our upper spine, as these are the main postural muscles, the ones that become really weak from sitting at your desk all day. We want to strengthen up there to support our spine, to support that seated position. Now you might want to stay with the movement like this. If you want a challenge, as you float the head up this time, the arms are going to come with you. Then we're going to release everything back down. Now you're only lifting those arms if you feel strong enough to today. Remember, there's nothing in the lower back. We are just coming off to hover off the mat. So it is a tiny movement. It's not about how high you can go. I want you to feel that strength in your hover. This is one of the best strengthening exercises for your posture. It works the entire posterior chain, so all the way down our back, our glutes, everything that is often neglected is working here. Let's take 3 more. We go for 2. On that next one, I want you, wherever you are, to just hold that hover and stay. Checking that your neck is lengthened, that string is extending, pulling your spine longer. We're looking down to our mat. We hold it for 3, for 2, for 1. Let's release. Hands on the mat. I want you to send your hips back and I want you to meet me in child's pose. Let's join our big toes together. Open the knees wide. Try to send your hips all the way back to your heels. Then walk your arms forward. Keep them active here as we then release our head down. Just melt into the mat. Deep breaths here as you allow your spine to lengthen. We want to stay active. So really spread the fingertips out. Press them into the mat. Send your hips to your heels and release the body. Holding this position, we've got 3 more rounds of deep breaths. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Let's take 1 more. From here, I want you to shift your weight back onto your hands. We're going to roll onto all fours. Now, as you do this, I want you to send your spine up to the ceiling here. Then you can continue to drop your hips down to the mat. You're going to roll your shoulders back. Take a nice big inhale as we look up to the ceiling. And then exhale, press back into child's pose. Release your head down. Let's just take one more spinal wave here. Roll up through your spine. Send the hips down. Look up to the ceiling. Really press your hands into the mat. And send the hips back through child's pose. You're going to roll up now to a kneeling position. Now, I want you to just bring your right leg forward. Now, if you need to, find a little bit of assistance here. You might want to hold onto a couch, maybe some blocks, maybe a wall. I want that right leg forward and I want the right knee over the ankle to start. So you've got sort of a 90-degree ankle here. Now, we're going to grow taller. You're going to tuck your pelvis under and activate those glutes. Then I want you to gently hinge the hips forward. The knee's going to come forward. We're going to stretch into that left hip flexor. Now, if you're holding onto something, that is fine. Let's use that to support so you can really deepen the stretch here. Allow your hips to sink down. You might want to shut the eyes down, really breathe into the stretch. We want to open up those tight hip flexors. Allow those exhales to deepen the stretch for you. You want to keep a little bit of an activation through your glutes to find that active stretch and hold. Let's take one more breath here. And gently release. We're going to switch legs. I want you to bring your left foot forward this time. Again, find that assistance if you need to. We start tall. We tuck that pelvis, squeeze those glutes, then take that slow hinge down. I want you to shut your eyes down. Really focus mind to muscle. We are stretching through the front of the right hip into that hip flexor. Hold it here. Each exhale allows you to sink deeper. Allows you to create space for that stretch. One more breath here. And slowly release out of that. Now I want you to come to either seated or kneeling position. So again, whatever's comfortable for you. Use your pillow to assist the stretch if you need, or this position if you need. Now we're just going to bring our right arm up to the ceiling. Then I want you to allow the right arm to just begin to wrap around the head. Now the weight of the right hand is going to really gently pull your neck over to the side or your head over to the side. We're going to flex through that left hand and just begin to take small circles here. We're going to find a release into our neck. Other direction. By flexing that hand, we're creating the nerve, space for that muscle and nerve to really release any of that tension held from having our head forwards and down, looking at our laptop all day. Let's pause on that next one. Send that hand down to the mat and release slowly there. Other side, bring that arm up. Allow the weight of the hand to gently pull the neck to the side. So really it's just the weight of the arm. We're not forcing it. It's really just gently allowing the neck to release. We flex the other arm and we circle here. Feel that nervy, muscular stretch through the neck. through the traps. Other direction with those circles. And just send that hand down to the mat and release. I want you to shut your eyes down. Bring your hands back to either side of the ribs, just how we started here. Now I want you to lengthen your spine, find that string, allowing your neck to lengthen. Let's take a big breath in, feel that expansion in the ribs. Exhale, release. And as we move through a few breaths here to finish, I want you to just feel or notice, does the body feel slightly more released? Have you maybe begun to figure out how to work through those posture muscles a little bit better, how to strengthen them? We've slightly worked to open up the hips and the glutes, to find that activation through the glutes to support the spine. We've mobilized the spine, but we've also worked those deep core muscles that help to support it. We've released the neck, the shoulders. We've used our breath to find the movement, to find the stretch, to help enhance them. Everything we've done is really great. As I said, if you're someone who sits down at your desk all day, really important to still do movement that's going to help you find that ease in the sitting, help support your posture, your body, so we don't tighten up and become weak. We want to lengthen those muscles, support our back, our neck. Let's take one more breath here. Exhale, let's slowly release the hands. Take a little roll through your shoulders, gently open up the eyes. And we'll leave it there, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. This is a really great flow to add into your week, multiple times a week, to just make sure that you're really supporting your body as you do your work, as you sit down all day. So important to add in these movement snacks throughout your day. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you back here next time.